us off with, oh, there we go.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Sylvie. If Angie would give us a little bit of info about her, everybody else can just, name and place, but Angie, hello, and welcome to our optional monthly Zoom.
Thank you. Happy to be here for sure. Yep. So Angie Presby, I'm a lifelong resident of Saco. I was on the board for about 1.5 years. And then I started just volunteering in Saco with the Pumpkin Harvest Festival and then the Parade of Lights. And it was just something that I really enjoyed doing. So then our president, she stepped down just a tad early because she was pregnant, so she needed to go on maternity leave and she wanted to get everything in order. And then Jen resigned for January. So I was just kind of in a position with my career where I was happier coming to the board meetings than I was sitting at my desk all day. So it felt like a really good opportunity to get back into what I enjoy doing, which is helping people and providing information for programs that are available to people and just getting more involved with the community. So my background is in business administration, but I was just previously in insurance, trying a different thing, and in the corporate world. So I didn't mind the corporate world, and I think there are some things that I learned there for sure that can be applied, but not so formally. So the transition has gone really well for our board because I was already involved and I was working closely with Jen as the president. So we all are really energized and feel good about our future. Certainly, I don't know everything, so I'm looking forward to connecting with you all and getting some great ideas. For instance, the Skowhegan's sponsorship information that they sent out this morning was just incredible. So, that's something that Saco is definitely trying to restructure as well. So, any of those sort of ideas will definitely will appreciate.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, and I'll let Sylvie, since I'm having trouble making words this morning, facilitate. Good morning. Oh, this really might be the other Main Street director. Tamra, is that you, named Melissa?
Is it Melissa or Tamra? Yay! Welcome. Oops. Perfect timing.
A shadowy figure.
That's great.
I'll work out the details here. Okay.
There she is. Hey, Tamra.
Hello.
So we're just doing intros. Angie just introduced herself, but we'll go around the room to give you just 1 minute. How about names and
communities?
Sylvie.
How about
Sylvie.
names and your role with MDC, whether it's in a community and or you can add on, advisory council. Dave, you're next on my screen.
Hey everyone, good to be with you all. Dave Gogel, Rockland Main Street.
And Scott.
Good morning, everyone. I am Scott. I am president of Norway Downtown, and I am on the advisory council for the Maine Downtown Center.
Awesome. And Ross.
Good morning, Ross Cunningham. I'm the Economic Community Development Director of Lisbon, and also by de facto the director of the Main Street program, affiliate program. Thanks.
And Amanda.
Am I the only one today?
No, I'm over here too.
There you are. Which one do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I forgot. Amanda Bath.
Amanda Bath. I identify as Big Bird, and I enjoy my downtown with that kind of fluffy passion. I'm from Bath.
Oh, love it. I feel a song coming on. Tara.
Hi, I'm Tara Kelly. I'm Executive Director of Maine Preservation, and I am on the Advisory Council.
And Cara.
Cara Romano, Heart of Ellsworth.
Carrie.
Hey, good morning. I'm Kerry Tyson, the Executive Director of Portland Downtown and on the Advisory Council.
And CJ.
Hey, I'm CJ. I'm the Executive Director of Friends of Congress Square Park here in Portland.
Delilah.
And maybe you should be on the advisory council.
Ooh.
Morning, I'm Delilah Papour, Director at the Heart of Bedford.
And Deb.
Deborah King, Executive Director of Brunswick Downtown Association.
And Nancy.
I'm Nancy Kepch. I'm with the Town of Fulton Community Development Director and work with our downtown group.
And Amanda Cunningham.
Amanda Cunningham, Executive Director of Our Town Belfast. Sorry, I came in late and I need to just let you know I'm going to disappear for about 20 minutes in the middle to go transport my kid, but I'll be back.
No problem. Thanks for being here. Let's see. And we heard an intro from Angie. I don't know if Angie and Tamara, have you gotten eyes on each other before? Okay.
Yeah,
great.
We did a group Zoom earlier this week.
Great. And Tamara, I might be saying your name wrong, so please give us an intro, and you can say a little bit more if you'd like. Angie just gave a little background, a little bit of her, what she's looking forward to with this role.
Yes. Hi, my name is Tamara Whitmore, and I'm now the Executive Director of, yes, you can say it so many different ways. Tammy is fine as well, and of Gardner Main Street. And my background is actually in aquatic science, but previous to, I've also run surf shops and ski shops and restaurant, so a little bit of everything, but I'm looking forward to really getting deep into my chosen hometown of Gardner. So
great, welcome.
Yay.
We're excited
Yay.
to have the two of you as part of this motley crew. This morning, we're going to have a couple guests join us. We've already got a couple folks here that are going to be presenting about Jane's Walk in just a moment. And then we'll have Julie Bean from MDF presenting about some leadership opportunities. But first, I think we've got a couple announcements. And do you want to do those now?
Yeah. I know that you guys that are participating in Entrepreneur Ecosystem have already been working with your businesses and small business survey, and it feels like a lot, and it might feel like too much in your community. If it does, don't worry about it. But if you can handle it, or you're not doing ecosystem work, there is a new business survey that came out from National this week. They do them a couple times a year, and the data is really, I love kind of sifting through the data once it's all collected nationally, and they will take out like Maine and give us Maine data if we have enough responses. So just think about that. We're going to send out as a follow-up to today a reminder of events and trainings, but we got the board training coming up from MAMP. It's largely governance based. It is the 2 trainings are offered a year, this one with MAMP, and then in the fall, we do the 4-point approach. We have our annual awards celebration coming up in Brunswick and a tour of the Lamont block, April 26th, is that right, Wednesday? National conference, you should all have received the Maine State Gathering. Finally, we were able to find a place, and I hope you all are coming and bringing who's ever coming from Maine. I think we're going to have like 50 or more people. And National asked us to remind every one of you, to remind whoever's attending, that a negative COVID test with a picture with your stripped in your face is required when you register or when you come in to pick up your materials. Lots of discussions on that, but that is their rule. The last thing I want to do is throw out Build Maine is coming up, as well as Rural Rise. It's a busy spring, but Build Maine, I was hoping Christina would be here because they're hosting it again in Skowhegan. And we want to do some kind of design workshop that's going to benefit our main streets. So I'm not sure what that looks like, but I would love it if you would either email me after or throw it in the chat. What's your number one or a couple of design issues that you would love to have more training, knowledge, inspiration on? You know, is it pocket parks, facades? Is it connectivity to trail systems? Like, what's your design issue? Preservation, of course. So just think about that and throw things in the chat or email us afterwards. And I think that's it for announcements.
Quick question, Ann, if,
Yep.
do you know if that survey will drill down to our local community if we have enough responses?
That's a good question, Ross. I don't know the answer. I can certainly look for it. Are you intrigued by the questions and
Yeah, I
wanting
think
to
it,
get
I think
them?
it might be good
point.
information to have at a local level if it's available.
Yep, we can email the data guy at National, and I will ask him whether there's a way to drill down that deep or whether it's just statewide, but I'll ask.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay. Sylvie, back to you for the agenda. Is it moving
Great.
to Tara?
I think we're going to hand it over. And Tara, you have slides, right? Should I make you co-host here?
That'd be great. And I will say one thing before Tara gets started. I just want to preface it, and I know Tara's going to say this, but Amanda and I had a conversation. Jane's Walks do not have to be led or organized by the Main Street organization or the affiliate. It does not have to fall on your plate as like, oh my God, I can't do that. It can happen so many other ways, and that I will turn it over to Tara.
Okay, thank you. So I am glad to be here. Got to move all your faces so that I can see what I'm looking at. All right. No. Okay. So thanks for being here. I know some of you heard this talk last year and led Jane's Walks. I'm going to rely on you maybe for some of your experience from last year. But first and foremost, if you don't know, Jane's Walk is a global festival of free volunteer-led walking conversations inspired by activist Jane Jacobs. If you're not familiar with Jane, she was an urban activist and writer who lived from 1916 to 2006 and is best known for galvanizing her neighbors to stop a freeway from being built through their community in Greenwich Village in New York City. She believed in the power of individuals to influence their cities and towns, and today her principles represent the participatory planning approaches that have been embraced in communities around the world. And so as a result, Jane's Walk takes place in more than 200 cities and towns across the globe. And it's the first weekend in May every year in celebration of her birthday, which is May 4th. And as Carrie will say, may the 4th be with you. But that's a different thing. And so this year, Jane's Walk will be held in May on May 6th, sorry, in Maine on May 6th. So that's the Saturday. Last year was great fun. We had more than 300 participants in 11 cities and towns. Ellsworth, pictured here, thank you, Cara. And Portland, Stonington, and Bangor are all in these photos. We had more than 20 walks. This is the list. Topics covered: history, community visiting, the natural environment, and more. So we did have a walk in Gardner. Where else? Biddeford. Thank you, Delilah. Portland, Carrie, and CJ, not your main streets, but our friends helping to coordinate. Westbrook had multiple, which was great. So we are looking to do this again. And the most important thing to know is that anyone can lead a Jane's Walk. You are an expert in your own community and your own experience and have plenty to share. So this is not a lecture. This is not something that requires a terrible amount of planning. It is really a walking conversation and interactivity and sort of community engagement around whatever that topic is really the most important thing. So, where do you start? How do you pick a topic? Well, something that's of interest to you or to members of your community. One thing that that I had suggested actually in talking with Amanda earlier is like, just get a bunch of people to say, let's walk let's walk to Main Street and like talk about what we see, or talk about what we remember used to be here and what our favorite things are. So, you know, again, it's not necessarily a straightforward history tour, or, you know, it could be bird watching. Maybe that's not happening on the Main Street. Maybe that's off the beaten path, but that's where you might suggest a Jane's Walk to a partner in your community to lead something more into close by areas of the natural environment, and maybe end their walk on Main Street where they can spend some dollars. How do you plan a route? The average Jane's Walk is 60 to 90 minutes. And for this duration, we recommend 7 to 10 stops. Two elements that make for a great walk, like I said, are incorporating some interactivity and getting off of the beaten track. Think about a participatory or experiential activity like a scavenger hunt, and you know, bring folks to a part of the community, or open their eyes to something that they would not necessarily see. I think I'm ahead of myself. So yeah, so to start, you pick precise meeting spot, like a street address or some kind of recognizable public landmark that's easy to find. You think about the story that you're trying to tell. So you might want to map out a sequence of your stops in advance using Google Maps. But you'll also want to factor in stop times, or you know, the moments that you might stop to have conversation because you don't want to be walking and talking. You want to factor in time between those stops. And so you'd want to practice beforehand, and we recommend having someone else walk along with you to kind of envision what it might look like on the day of, where there might be, you know, curbs that can trip people up, things like that. And you know, so that's an important piece of this too, is to consider accessibility. We'll have all kinds of people on our walk, maybe parents with strollers, or older folks with some challenges. So, you know, keep your eyes open on that practice walk to see what might be a little bit of a challenge for someone else, and, you know, think empathetically about how other people experience spaces. And certainly, you know, Jane's Walk don't have to be fully outside. You can go inside to buildings. You could visit perhaps a rehab project on your Main Street, or go into various businesses, but obviously seek permission in advance before entering any private property. This is a really important piece, in addition to Anne's part of the fact that like you don't have to lead your own walk. Is that you can incorporate multiple perspectives. Stonington last year, I believe, had a different speaker at every single stop. And so, you know, it was just a way to bring in other voices. And naturally, again, like I said, part of this festival is that the participants, the folks who are on your walk, are invited to speak. And so, you know, they can share their knowledge about a topic, about their memories. And so it does not have to be something that is fully on your shoulders to develop and to research. So that's part of what makes it fun, is to have different voices sharing. Okay. So we also really recommend that for any of our walks that you have another person alongside you, in addition to the recommendation around having a co-leader or many co-leaders, many speakers, just having someone there who can manage the crowd, who can take photos, who can answer some questions, maybe about your Main Street, about your community that might have nothing to do with the walk topic. It's just always great to have another person there. Another sort of recommendation about interactivity or, you know, planning ahead is thinking about supplemental materials. That could be just a map. It could be a map of your Main Street community. It could be of your historic district. It could be the stops on your walk with just a little bit of information. It could be one of your handy business maps where folks can figure out where they can go to lunch or dinner after they complete the walk. But it's nice to have a handout, before and after photos, you know, historic photos of the community, so that you might stop and say, look at what a great job you've done preserving it. Look at, the change that's happened over time, or maybe how it's not changed at all and how that's something that you're proud of. We also recommend, like I said, the opportunity to sort of continue the conversation beyond the structured walk itself, that you could end in a park or at a local business, at a cafe or a bar, to kind of get to know the walk participants a little bit better and continue the conversation really about your walk topic, or truly about anything. Honestly, it's a good way to make friends. So on the actual day of your walk, be sure to sort of start strong. Introduce yourself, maybe give a little bit of a recap of who Jane Jacobs was. People might be wondering why it's called this, so you can provide them with that information. And you might want to talk about what the festival is about, what the goals are about sort of community engagement and observation. And then you might ask around everybody else on your walk, depending on the size of it. You might ask them to introduce themselves and what made them interested in joining you on that day. As I said earlier, do not walk and talk. Do not let the participants walk and talk. I mean, they can talk to each other. Sure, that's fine. They might be coming with friends and family. But if you're having that engagement and that dialogue around the topic or around your community, you really want to make sure everyone can hear you, or can hear each other, or can hear speakers. So do make sure that you are planning places to stop. And those stops I would consider thinking about when you're planning, finding, steps, stoops, park benches, little, hills and embankments, to find a place to elevate speakers so that they can be heard. You can have an amplification device if you think that might be necessary, like phone, megaphone, whatever. But you want to make sure everyone can hear you. And if you do have a co-leader, you can have that, or you do have a volunteer rather, you can have that person kind of rounding up the troops at the other end of your walk, so that they can pick up any stragglers. And we also recommend wearing, a brightly colored shirt or hat, or, waving some kind of banner or flag so that people can find you and follow you along the street. So as I said before, you'll hear this a lot, make sure to encourage conversation and be open to dialogue. So for example, if you are kind of just leading a straightforward, here's this building, it used to do this, it does this now. You might ask people in the crowd if anyone was, remembers it when it was a pharmacy before now it's a soda shop or whatever, to just get that dialogue and conversation going. Another opportunity too, when we're talking about the preparation of your walks, is that somebody in your walk might ask a question and you don't know the answer to, but you can just flip it back around to the crowd and say, does anybody know the answer? I have no idea. And that's a great way, again, to engender that dialogue and also to pull people into the conversation. We do want to make sure that you capture the fun. Jade's Walk is a movement. I've seen it grow from just a handful of walks to literally hundreds. I used to oversee this program in New York City. They have more than 300 walks and more than 6,000 people participating every single year, people traveling from across the country for this festival. And the way that builds and grows is through people, sort of the marketing campaign, but people seeing that they missed out on something really fun. So we want to make sure that we're taking photos so that we can promote that going forward after the festival into next year's, and just keep building and growing, because there's a tremendous opportunity in sort of sharing our audiences, that someone might come to the website looking for a walk, thinking that they're going to do it in their own community or someplace nearby, but pique an interest in someplace much farther away because it has, you know, a great walk title and it's something they're really passionate about, and they get introduced to a totally different community. And that's where we kind of spread this love of place across the state and have a deeper investment in stewardship of our places. So, you know, it is a really, really important thing to sort of snap those photos, show people having fun, and give everyone who wasn't there a whole bunch of FOMO. So we do have hashtag James Walk Me, and we also have a Google Drive, and I'll drop that into the chat where you can share photos after the event. So to this point of, you know, how do people find your walk? We'll be doing our best to promote. So first and foremost, the deadline is March 31st. We'll be then posting those walks on our website, and we'll be using all the partners who are coordinating. We'll be using our website, social media channels, and media partners. And so this year we have something really special happening. We got a grant from the Maine Office of Tourism. We will be having radio ads on Maine Public Radio promoting the walks this year. We have paid advertising, I think, in 3 magazines. And we also have some funding for paid social promotion. And so we had you all in mind. It's not a lot, but for the first 10 downtowns and affiliates who submit a walk, we've got a $50 stipend for you to use towards paid social promo. So that hoping that we can continue to build off of this, you know, shared communication and marketing effort to bring people into our own communities, share them amongst others, and get people out on the streets on Saturday, May 6th. We have a James Walk Me Facebook event page for May 6th. So another way to promote your walk is to invite friends and family, parts of your community to just kind of become aware of it through the Facebook page. We have a flyer that you can print if you want to go analog and post them in business windows, in the library, on community center bulletin boards. Last year, Cara made a great point about customizing it to include, you know, her own details and information. So we do have that flyer again. So let me see, what else do I have? That's the end of the formal presentation. But what I want to do now is turn to my colleagues, Carrie and CJ, to talk about the walks that they led last year, what they're planning for this year, and others of you on the call, Delilah, Cara, anybody else who wants to share about their experience last year, what they might be thinking about. We hope you're joining us again, and we can also answer any questions.
Thanks, Tara. I can talk a little bit, and this is so much fun. It's, you know, CJ and I often refer to it as one of the holidays we have here in our little world of placemaking and urbanism, and this and Small Business Saturday are sort of like the 2 favorite things we get to do. And we're so lucky to have Tara and CJ. You know, Tara, like she said, she ran this program for 6 years in New York, and CJ did a similar thing in Providence for 3 or 4 years. So we've got a lot of experience here. Last year in downtown Portland, I led a walk called Imagine Places Here, a tour of surface parking lots in downtown Portland. And, you know, as nerdy as that sounds, there were about 15 people who seemed to really enjoy it. And we had a great walking conversation. And it was just that. There was a little, you know, I did some research, not a ton, with what buildings used to be there, the plans that are for various construction that have both seemingly have some legs and some that have failed over the years. We just had a great chat. I'll let CJ talk about his walk, which was tons and tons of fun. We sort of did them back to back, and that was a fun way to do it because the crowds just transitioned into each other. And then again, I think we Tara hit on this, but the other fun part of it is to celebrate at the end of the day, whatever the end of your walk schedule is, to go have a coffee, to have a beer, whatever, have a good time and have a good conversation. I think it's just a way to cultivate volunteers, engagement, community activism, that sort of thing. So don't hesitate. Everybody here has great, coffee shops and breweries in their communities. So utilize those.
Yeah, it was such a good time last year here in Portland. So my walks tend to be more experiential and less of sort of like a tour and more about kind of like the walking experience. And so last year we explored for like gargoyles, which was a very loose term through downtown Portland, but it was essentially like any sort of carvings and faces, whether it was like animals or whatever. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. I had a bunch on my kind of like little list and like a map to hit, but we found a bunch more, which is my favorite. Like people aren't just like looking to you as the tour guide. They're kind of like part of it, and they're like truly, having their own experience that you're just sort of guiding gently. So that was a ton of fun. And this year, my walk is sort of like, I forget what I called it. I had some clever name, but it's essentially like thinking about the textures that you're walking on, like whether it's cobblestone or gravel or concrete or brick or whatever, and just what does that like physically feel like and sound like, and like what are the differences in these things, and like do you feel differently walking on cobblestone than you do dirt or whatever. And so it's gonna be really just like a wandering through Portland, just like wherever there's some interesting textures to walk on. So things like that are really fun. And again, like I'll be like leading it just as far as maybe giving some like prompts and like having a guided path, but essentially letting people have their own experience and like talk among themselves and stuff. I find it, first of all, as a leader, way easier, less stressful. It's not have to be like an expert at anything, but also just, I think it's way more fun. One tip I can definitely like solidly give is if you practice it or you just sort of like estimate how long you think it might take, give yourself a lot of wiggle room. Like I'm telling people it'll probably be about an hour, but I'm crafting something that in my head will be like maybe 30 or 40 minutes. Just like people always want to stop and talk, which is wonderful, but like give intended room for that where you're not like screwing up people's schedules or something, or they might want to run off to another Jane's Walk. And so if you tell them an hour or an hour and a half, plan for less time so that they have time to go off to another Jane's Walk or to grab a coffee or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I like a lot of the ones on the list were about the built environment and about history, which I think is like, that should be a big chunk of them, but always consider just like walking as its own, like you're giving a tour about walking while walking, you know what I mean? It can be something that simple and research light.
Thanks so much, CJ and Carrie and Tara. This is an excellent overview. Obviously, some of you are familiar with it, but it's, I think, sparks some new ideas too, ways you can get creative with this. Just to clarify, that promo is for, if the Main Street or affiliate community is leading and submits by March 31st, that you'll get that $50 promo funds for more marketing. It's exciting that there's this big marketing effort to go along with it this year. Any final questions? We are going to move along pretty quickly here, but excellent. Okay, then I'm going to turn it over to Julie Bean. And Julie is here from MDF. And Julie, if you want to introduce yourself, and I made you a co-host in case you do have any, I can't remember if you said you had slides to share or not.
And just one thing, if Tara, CJ, and Carrie need to scoot, don't feel badly that you're scooting. We'll share your emails, and obviously Tara put some links in the chat as well.
And we'll include those
just
in the notes.
by way of an explanation. So on our website, we've got an FAQ that pretty much outlines everything that I mentioned today. We've got a previous webinar that we did publicly. If you want to share that, again, like you can just be sharing this as an opportunity to other folks in your community. And so if they have questions and want more information, there's a webinar that we have there. And that's also where the submission forms live. And my email is, I'll just throw it in the chat before I dip out.
Thanks so
Awesome.
much. And I see
Thanks,
CJ's
Tara.
here too. We'll include all those links and contacts in the wrap-up email.
Thanks.
Thank you
Awesome,
all.
guys.
All right, Julie.
Hi, everybody. I'm keeping this low tech, so I don't have slides. And I actually don't think it's going to take a whole lot of time, but I do want to encourage questions after I'm done, if you have any. But so I am a program director at MDF, and I primarily work on our leadership programs. And I'm here to talk to you about two of those programs. They're sort of our flagship programs. One is Leadership Maine, and the other one is the Institute for Civic Leadership, which we just call ICL for short. Leadership Maine is, well, I should say first that both of these programs, we are entering our 30th year with them. So they are very long-standing programs. Maybe you've heard of one or both, but Leadership Maine is a 9-month program. It starts in September and runs through May, and it's the way we describe it is this is more of our outward focused program. It's meant to give class members a strong sense of Maine's economy, who the players are, that, just learning about the different industries that make it run. And it's typically a class size of about 35 people. That is actually what it is this year. And the participants come from all parts of the state, all different sectors, education, healthcare, government, various businesses. So it's also a great way to build your network and to make connections. I was actually a participant a few years ago, and just the relationships that are lasting as a result of it are one of the big benefits of participating. So the other program, ICL, is an 8-month program, and this one is more inward focused. It's more about developing your personal leadership style and to give you the skills that can make you more successful in the workplace. So it teaches about systems thinking, about facilitative and collaborative leadership, how to lead difficult conversations. And it's more of a classroom style, whereas Leadership Maine gets you out. We're doing site visits at different businesses and organizations all around the state. So again, just in summary, Leadership Maine is outward focused, ICL is inward focused. ICL meets twice, like 2 days each month, and they're back to back, Thursday, Friday. And Leadership Maine meets once a month. It has some longer sessions, like our opening retreat is 3 days. We do a bus tour in the fall, which is 3 days. But generally it's 1 day a month. And the cost for participating is $6,000 for non-MDF members and $5,500. So you get a $500 discount if your employer is an MDF member. But we also have scholarship funds available. So we encourage people to apply even if their employer can't pay 100%, because we definitely have funds available to help defray the cost. And if you want to dive a little deeper to explore the programs, you can go to MDF's website, which is mdf.org. And at the banner at the top, just click on leadership development and you'll see a drop down for ICL and Leadership Maine. I think that covers the basics, but happy to answer any questions.
And I should say that Ross is an alum of Leadership Maine, and I am signed up to be a participant in ICL. And we are always eager to have Main Street and affiliate representatives, whether it's boards or staff, participate in these programs. They are pretty powerful, I hear. And I also always budget scholarship money every year for hopefully someone to participate. I know it's a big time commitment, but it's really interesting to think about your own personal kind of professional development, or the opportunity just to connect with other nonprofit leaders. I mean, so many things to take away from both of these programs. So
Yeah, if I could just for a minute, it was a fantastic experience. I did it about 5 years ago, Sci class. Might have been longer, actually, time flies. But it really, I mean, we got to visit individual communities. We got to tour the Blueberry Barrens, Windmill Hills, and really some amazing stuff. Got to go to the University of Maine and see their innovation lab. Really, really amazing. And last Friday, I had the honor of having this year's class come to Lisbon, and we did a presentation on Lisbon's rebound over the last 10 years and things we're doing here. So if you have an opportunity, absolutely take this course. It does feel like a big ask with one day a month and a couple different 3 to 4 day trips, but it really was a lifelong experience.
And advisory council members could do it too.
Any questions at all? Thanks, Julie, for that overview. And I will send out the links as part of the follow-up email so you can take a look at the different programs. But what questions do we have for Julie or Ross? Yeah, Scott.
So you say it's 1 day a month. Is there other stuff during the month that you're working on and doing?
So there is a project requirement at the opening retreat in September. We present a handful of project opportunities for, and then people sort of self-select. So you end up on a project team, and those are the folks you get to know, like as a subset of your class, you get to know those people really well, but you're tackling a project.
And Julie, that's for Leadership Maine, right? Just Leadership Maine, not ICL.
Yeah, which, sorry, Scott, I assume that's what you're talking about when you said 1 day a month, because so, but that's outside of regular class time, although there is some time dedicated typically during each session to meet with your project team, but you're also supposed to work independently from the program on that project. But it's in total probably an extra hour a month. It's not a ton of time.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions?
I have a question. I missed the ICL dates. When does that start?
Oh, that also starts in September.
Oh,
but it runs through April instead of May.
Thank you.
Oh, I should mention, it's really fun for anyone who's a little bit adventurous, but both programs in their opening retreats involve going somewhere. And like for ICL, it's Outward Bound, the Newry facility. And then for Leadership Maine, it's the Wavis camps for girls on Damascona Lake. And they involve, that's when you really get to know your classmates. It's but it involves Outward Bound style, like ropes courses and rescue scenarios. So it's a really good bonding experience.
Great. Julie, thank you so much. Any other questions?
And I can be reached, I'm sure Sylvie will share my email as well, but I can be reached anytime. If you do have follow-up questions, I'd be happy to talk to you more.
Yeah, I will include that in that follow-up email.
Great. Thank
Julie,
you.
thanks for joining us. Yes.
All right. Have a great day.
Julie.
Bye.
Bye.
And do we have any closing announcements?
No, I think we have like 10 minutes, if I'm looking at the clock right, 9
Mhm.
minutes. Just to throw out to see what people need, what they have going on, what you might need help with, or want to throw out to the group. I know Christina has one thing, but Deb, was that a hand raise? Deb? All right, Deb. Let's kick us off.
Thank you. I just want to welcome the new Main Street directors. And I also want to mention that one of my staff who are going to be joining us in Boston sat in on the webinar yesterday for folks who have never been to a conference before. And he mentioned that make sure you have the Lyft app on your phone, because any participant at the conference gets a $40 credit. So yeah, use Lyft instead of Uber for that's being provided. So that's yeah, that was a good takeaway. So the Brunswick group is probably, we've already got reservations at an Italian restaurant for Monday night. So we'll be thinking of you. There's about 12 of us. So we're gonna head out and do a group thing.
Great.
But
Are
we
you
may
going to come?
stop in for a drink.
Awesome. I was going to say, I hope you'll swing by and say hello.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Oh, I do want to say one more thing. Big shout out to Sylvie and Carrie and Michael Hall. They did the assessment for Brunswick. It was such a positive experience for everyone around the table. I think I had maybe 11 or 12 of the BDA staff and board there. So it was a great conversation that we all enjoyed. Plus, we learned a lot as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Deb, for bringing that up. That is a good team. And Scott has done a couple assessments, and all of you are, also getting to participate. So thanks, everybody. I know it's always intense time of year. It looks like Tamra has her hand up.
I just thought that I would take this opportunity to any advice right off the gate of what's your top tip if you're stepping into this role, and it may be different than other things you've done before.
Oh, good one. Amanda is going to share one.
There we go. Big bird it up. Seriously, get on your big bird roller skates and show up. Just hang out. Just go introduce yourself and ask the businesses what they're looking to you for. Just gather that information. So take the morning and do all of your admin stuff, check your emails, do your stuff, and take the afternoon for the first, month and visit. You can't visit enough. And if they start earning that trust that you're going to continue to show up for them physically, that you're also going to show up for them through the program.
Great. Thank you.
Go ahead, Deb.
I was just going to say, make sure you work on your relationship with the municipality, because they can be your best advocate, your largest funder, and the best partner you can possibly have in the community. So spend some time working on that, developing those relationships.
Great.
And luckily, Melissa Lindley is over at the municipality, so that certainly helps with that, Tamra.
And the mayor is right beside me.
That's true. And Mayor Pat Hart is across the hall. There you go. We'll think of ideas for you.
Feel free to shoot them our way. I would imagine Angie is the same. We'll take anything. Thank you.
Great. Christina, you want to talk about Build Maine a little bit, and what you and I talked about on the, I don't remember, phone or Zoom or something about getting the Main Street director. She's chewing. I'll keep talking for a minute. As a reminder, we will have comp tickets for everyone to attend Build Maine. It's in Skowhegan, June, I'm going to tell you, June
7th and 8th.
Thank you, 7th and 8th. We don't often have a huge participation. Christina is like, all right, what can we do to get all you Main Street directors there? Should we have a Main Street directors lunch? And, you know, a conversation. And then you remember my earlier question, which is, what are the design issues in your downtown that you need help with? And just so you know, Cara put in a note that said, designing a parklet and partnership with the municipality, trailheads in downtowns, and reviving a derelict park. So those are some of her ideas. So think about what you're dealing with in design in your communities, because Christina and I are like trying to make the content relevant, get the right speakers, and also feel like, what can we have a conversation with? So now, do you want to talk, Christina?
Sure, yeah. I had a meeting with Kara Wilbur, who's the kind of leads the Build Maine effort the other day, and she wanted some input on what sort of other workshops we could bring to the table this year, because it's not just going to be a half day and then a full day. It's going to be 2 full days, and so they're looking for additional speakers, or we are. And Carrie's on the call, and maybe he was involved in the second phase of that conversation, but I recommended that we kind of look for some more local presenters in the state. And while I've been to Build Maine most years that it's run over my 7-year tenure as a Main Street director, in the early onset, I kind of felt like I couldn't get a lot of tangible takeaways, because a lot of it was very inspirational, but not necessarily relevant to the immediate work that I was doing. But I'm hoping that there's going to be some of both of that this year. So some more tangible takeaways. I know there were some things last year. The Village Partnership Initiative stuff was interesting. So anyways, Carrie, you can kind of jump in here about the presenters, but I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit more relevant for the Main Street crew and something that we've brought up. And I definitely would love to bring you all, or hope that you all will come to Skowhegan and we can plan a lunch on that Thursday, the 8th, and get together. So
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I've been talking with Kara. She's had some stuff go on, so I've tried to help pick up some slack with her, because those speakers need to get nailed down ASAP. So I've got a number of phone calls coming up, and certainly some of the folks I talked about, I think, hit the nail that Christina talked about, because that's just the folks I know, because this is my background. So I will reinforce that with her the next time, because only I think 2 people have been confirmed right now. So this is the right opportunity. So thanks for bringing that up. I'll reinforce that on the next call I have with her. And Robert O'Brien is involved in this year, who you all know. And so he'll be a good advocate, because he gets all this stuff too.
Great. Carrie, I can send you names. I've sent some to Kara, but should I send them to you?
Yeah, you please. Yeah, I actually probably, yeah, definitely want to, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thinking of, expertise right here in the state. Okay. We have a couple minutes. Anything else anybody wants to throw out? Okay. Quiet group this morning. That's okay. Do think of what you need in your design worlds, in your downtowns, please. Think about Jane's Walk. Looking forward to seeing many of you in Boston. Let us know what you need. Sylvia and I are tag teaming on what you guys need. Deb, yeah.
Is everyone going? Is every Main Street being represented?
Let's see. I don't know if Dave is going. I think he's not going. And I'm not sure about Amy in Westbrook, but everyone else is. And then lots of affiliates. Ross is bringing a couple people from Lisbon. We have a crowd from Ellsworth coming. Who else, Sylvia, am I missing? No, not Woodford's Corner, maybe. I don't know. But yes,
Deb's
Deb.
got a crew going.
Yeah, I think we are going to have over 50 people, which is a lot. Obviously, when we fly, it's more around like 20, 23. Carrie and Sarah are headed down.
I know Nancy was trying to talk about getting a group going. I don't know where she landed on that yet.
Hey, it's not too late. We should do our own t-shirts. We should do Maine t-shirts.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Ross. All right, we'll get on that. We used to have
In
shirts.
Biddeford, we may have booked 2 hotel rooms we won't need, so I
Ooh.
can let folks know in a few days if that's the case, in case anybody's
Yeah.
looking for lodging.
Thank you. Do that, Delilah, because that may be helpful to put out to the bigger group. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, that is a wrap for this morning. Thank you guys so much. Amanda Cunningham, I know you had to step out, but we did record things. If you want to check back on the Jane's Walk, because we'd love to have Belfast, do one of those if it works.
I'll look into it.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be you leading it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
It
you.
can't
Don't
be.
worry.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. All right, guys. Happy Friday, and thanks as always.
Great to see you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.